Greetings, Minecrafters. Nonsanity here, and welcome to another episode of All the Mods 10 to the Skies. Alright, got a lot of stuff I want to get done this episode, because we've had a little bit of a gap in time. But I've got project chests all over the place. But first, here's one that I don't have a project chest, because it's actually all visible except the code. So up here we've got the power energizing rods, the power orb, and 2 chests with a factory manager from Super Factory Manager, which hasn't had an update and looks a little different. It's got a little flashy computer screen on it. And this is creating all the power materials. I'd left it up because it's still running, making the various materials for me. I'm surprised it isn't farther along than it was. Oh, that's right. It was stopped. It got jammed. But yeah, it's doing better now. All right, so yeah, this is there's nothing else going on here. This is the full setup, and the code is not too difficult. It's just that. That's, tiny little bit over one screen. And it's sort of smart, even though it's rather compact. I'll walk through it here real quick. Every 20 ticks, and we've got the 2 sections separated by a forget. The second one just takes whatever the orb has as an output and sticks it in the chest. I should grab the changed label gun here, so you can see that's called source, that's called chest, and that is called orb. So that takes the output and sticks it in the output chest, and then this is how the input works. We input from source. Anything, everything. We're saying we're going to take something from source, but we're going to filter it on the putting it somewhere else side. So I started it at the highest tier materials first, which is also the most complicated because it has 3 checks it does. It checks to see if the source has at least 1 nether star, at least 2 redstone blocks, and at least 1 blazing crystal block. If it does, then it puts exactly 1 nether star in, that's what the retain does, exactly 2 redstone blocks, and exactly 1 blazing crystal block. If it doesn't have all 3 of those things, which it currently doesn't, then it looks to see if it has at least 1 emerald, which it does, in which case it puts exactly 1 emerald into the orb. And if it's out of emeralds, it'll work on diamonds. If it's out of diamonds, it'll work on blaze rods. And if it's out of blaze rods, it'll check to see if it has both iron and gold, at least 1 of each. And then it'll put 1 of each into the orb. Very simple, but it covers this functionality very easily. There is one thing I want to change, and I think I can do it simply. That's because it did get jammed when it switched from making the nether star based one to the emerald. It had put these in and it started a process, but then 20 ticks later it came back in here. It didn't have these things, so it went to emerald, saw it had an emerald, and stuck the emerald in. But there was already stuff in the orb, so I'm going to add one more. Let's tab it in. If the orb has less than 1 of anything, then. And we will indent everything else, put a new end down here. So basically it'll only do any of this if the orb is empty. Let's make sure it likes that. Shift enter. Yep, no error. All right, that should make it so that when it switches materials, it won't try and put 2 different recipes in there. Now the emeralds and diamonds and so forth go very, very quickly, so that probably wouldn't happen now. But if I had the materials for the top tier, which does take a few moments, even with 4 of these nitro energy rods, then there is a chance that it would double up. Let's get some of this stuff out of here. And put it in the system. It made a lot of nitro. I forgot that that recipe makes like 16 or something. All right, next. Yeah, we can do this one. All right, what this one is going to do, and I'm changing it slightly from what I tested before. I'm going to put an advanced sensor there, and it's currently looking down, so we're going to raise it up one. So that's the spot it's looking at. We've got an advanced dropper I'm going to put there. AE2, let's see, turn that one off. It's also looking down too much, so we'll raise it up so it's looking right in front of itself. Got a fluid collector that's going to go there, and a fluid placer that's going to go there. Oh, it still had some water in it. Yep. So it's going to place water. It's going to get the water from, put a sink there. And I've got some fluid ender conduit. So we'll say extract and insert. So that'll keep it topped up with water, and it'll put water there. This is looking to see if there's water. If there is water in there, then I'm going to use a cog block to trigger this thing, which will drop a polymorphic catalyst. And I need to get some polymorphic catalyst. I toss that in there. All right, it should only happen when the water is, maybe the cog isn't going to do what I want it to do. I hadn't tested it with that. We'll just go back to redstone, which is what I had before. No, it's still... Target blocks, allow list, water. It seems to trigger that the polymorphic fluid is water. So if I say exactly 1 bucket of water, it likes it. And deny list turns it off. Well, that's... I could have sworn this was working before. Why does it see the polymorphic as water? And this one should be picking it up because it's picking up polymorphic fluid. They will need power, but they've got enough leftover power in them already. And it's not picking up. It thinks it's water as well, I guess. Let's get a bucket and see. See, that is not lighting up. Well, it's because it's set to deny. Yeah, it changes to polymorphic fluid and the sensor fails. Huh. All right, let me experiment with this and see what's going on. All right, it's working now. Take that out. The problem was, it was a visual glitch. My magnet was picking up the polymorphic catalyst. I thought the first one, which seemed to change it into the polymorphic fluid, worked. But I was picking it up even after it visibly changed the liquid. It didn't actually change it. When I picked it up with the bucket, it was water. You might have caught that if you were paying attention, and I wasn't. So, yeah, it was just the magnet was picking it up in a weird moment, and there was a glitch in that it would look like it was changed, but it actually wasn't. So this thing is picking up the polymorphic fluid. So, all right, we're good, we're good, we're good. So I'm going to put a fluid drawer here. The fluid conduit, extracting all the time. Inserting in there, that should empty it out. It has. And now I can, let's turn back on again. All right. And it looks like the cog block will work. So if I put this in here, it's working again. And I did have a demagnetizer. So we'll put that away. It's a bit loud, but I'm not going to keep it running for too much longer. I already have quite a bit of the polymorphic fluid. I do need to give them some power. Actually, let's put the power in the middle. Did it run out? It ran out. All right, good. It's quieter. And then we'll do the Ender power conduit, and I need 2 more of that. So all the machines get powered. That's good. Anything else? I have an item conduit. Why do I have an item conduit? Oh, that was to feed. So I have a drawer here. I can set there. Set that to extract. And that one, item, insert. All right. So I can put polymorphic in there. It'll load it into here, so I can have more than 9 stacks this way. And it will output polymorphic fluid there. Now, what's the polymorphic fluid good for? Well, I have somewhere in my inventory, I think I put it here. I don't see it. Polymorphic 1. Oh, there it is. Double click to search in inventory. And I can left click it. Yeah, left click it, picks up the fluid. And this can be used to change a mob into something else. Yeah, I will explain what's going on there in a little bit. I built this little box over here. It's not perfect. I forgot about 2 different mobs that can't escape. But let's give it a try. I think I've got some zombie eggs here. Let's grab one. And we'll put him in here. So the polymorphic wand, let's see, let's crouch, right click. So it's set to random and targeted is off, which is what I want. If I hit him, he turned into one of these guys. That's the worst case. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Try to hit him. Come here. Come here. Oops, I changed a chicken. Oh no, he's a fox. He's killing all my chickens. I turned him into a shulker. Alright, that one I can take care of. Where's my creature cat? Should have had this on me. Alright. As you can see, it turns them into another creature. Turn my magnet back on. And that's what I was trying to get, an evoker. The other one besides the Vex that can escape this box is a Ghast. But evoker is what I wanted. Alright. While I'm here, I will talk about... Let's put him away. That away. What's going on over here? This is another one that I've set up, and I didn't want to take it down. I've got sewers. These are from Industrial Foregoing. And underneath here, along with all the blocks that I've got to keep the critters in the middle, each sewer has got a power input and a fluid extract conduit. The fluid all gets input into this drawer, and this flux point is sending power to all of them. And this is making sewage. Also, because I was getting eggs, stuck a drawer here with eggs and a item collector. So I lost my... Where'd my cow go? He was... Guess he must have fallen off or something. That's fine. I don't really need them. I can always buy eggs for all of these from the market. But yeah, so all these blocks make the mobs tend to pathfind to the space above them, because everywhere else is really thin. And as I mentioned before, mobs will pick a block in an area around them. I think it's a cube. It may be some sort of rectangular prism of some sort, but let's call it a cube. And just pick any block anywhere in that cube. It can pick any block down. I think I went farther than their range goes, but and then they will try and path as close to that block as they can, so they will end up on top of it if it's one of these blocks. And because there's so many more of these than the thin platform, they will tend to end up pathing into this space. So I don't even need a fence or a box around them. And that's probably more sewage than I'll ever need, but when I get to it, if I need it, I've got it. And it's just raining. Alright, no other changes around here. Yes, okay. So we can start going into some of these. If you notice, that was where the beehive is. I've started a new compact machine here. No decoration yet, but this, I moved it into here. And this will be the bee chamber. But that's not this episode. Instead, oh yeah, once I got the evoker, turn this off, turn the light on. I made an evoker egg by swabbing the evoker and slapped the egg on my spawner, so now they've been getting ground up, and I should have tons. Yeah, I've got almost 1 million. I'm getting close to 1 million totems of undying. So that's good. I did do one thing. I added a output of apotheosis gems. So all the gems are up here. Got a lot of unique and perfect ones up here now. And this is just all the regular drops. I wonder what was giving me the chains. Got 1,000 Godforged. That's pretty good. Don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I did put one of these armory cabinets here. And I've currently got it storing... Oh, it's getting these too. Storing anything that's netherite. Oh, it's getting the... Okay, yeah, so I've got it piping out... This basic item filter is blacklisting netherite. So it should just be netherite in there, but it's getting these because they're not getting properly trashed. I should take everything that's on the trash label and make it a negative over here, but I'll do that later. Just so they don't show up in here. So basically all of the items, all the tools come into here. So really anything that can go in here is going to go in here, except the apotheosic gems, which can't go in here at all. So yeah, I don't even need that filter. This was just when it was piping directly into the salvaging table, because it can salvage gems. But gems can't go in here. So that effectively filters them out. But yeah, I thought I'd collect some of these. There may be some good ones with like 4 sockets or whatever. Apotheosic socket marker. Huh. Wonder if that's a new bug. That one has 3. That's a pain, because I can't see how many sockets they have until I take them into my inventory. Don't really need them, but I thought I'd collect a few. I can always remove that filter from the thing sending them to the salvaging table, and then they will all get salvaged. All right, what next? I did make 4 honey seeds. Honey seeds, which just needed some bottles of honey and honeycomb. And these can let you make more honey, more combs, and honey blocks. I currently have it making blocks or making combs. So I've got 11,000 combs, so I want to use blocks to decorate that bee room. But we're going to go into AE2. So you've been in here. Last time we set up this, which makes matter balls and singularities. Currently working on singularities. Yeah, so got 27,000 of those, probably plenty. And we made up this thing. I wrapped it to make it look a little pretty. And the way it was tuned, I was completely running out of Certus. I had this much, I had 2.7 million charged Certus, but I didn't have any Certus. So I came in here earlier today and tweaked. I turned off the output to the other two, because I don't think I need more than 7 million Fluix or 4 million. I stopped those. It's not passing any of these materials on to those. So they won't make anything more. They should be static, yeah. That's out of Fluix. But this one's still running. I just tweaked it so that it, let's see, west. Yeah, I did instead of taking a whole stack out of here where it charges up the Certus, it's only taking one at a time, which slows it way down. So that was just in the extraction. I removed the speed upgrades and knocked the transfer amount down to 1. So that's still making the charged Certus, which it is needed to make more Certus, but it's making it much slower. And like I said, it was 2.7 before, it's still 2.7, and now we've got 370,000 Certus. So that'll probably either won't go down or it's going down so slowly that we're fine. So I just want to build up the Certus. But we're going to do some more things. And that is going to be over here. We're going to finally make an AE2 system. So let's get out some stuff. Oh, I did the walls up in black Luminex blocks. So instead of having those compact machine blocks for the walls, they're now painted over with this completely black texture, which I like. Gives us more of a void-like feel. So I've got 7 of these, and I'm just going to put them in a stack. You know, I know a lot of people first found me with my AE2 guide, which is quite old now, but still holds up for the most part. And in it, and some of the ones that followed it up, I talked about making the huge 7x7x7 cube and using the internal parts and the P2P tunnels on every face and wiring those all up. And the amount of channels you get from that is more than you would ever need. I even showed making a giant wall of storage drives, and that still only took a fraction of the channels. So I was doing that to say, don't do that. Don't make a 7x7x7. You don't need it. I mean, you can if you just want it for the visuals, but there are other shapes that are more fun, and I'm going to use this sort of totem shape because I think that's going to be fun. So what I'm going to do is have some cables going off like this. And I've got some facades. Cover up. So that'll be that. And I think I want to put some more facade. Oh, not there. I know if I used a wrench, I wouldn't have to break the whole thing, but there's no harm in it right now. I want to put it there, 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 and there. So that way up here, there's a floor underneath there, so it looks like it's going into the floor. I like that. I could also put a facade on the side of that. I mean, if I break this and put a facade there, let's demonstrate it. So if I put a facade there and then still attach the cable, it'll go through it. But I sort of like having it seen going in there. Now I've got to do the bottom ones again. All right, and then this needs some power, so I'm going to stick it on the bottom. Oh, should light up. And on top, I'm going to put a wireless access point. And in it, I've got a dimension card, which is the top tier card. It takes 4 infinity range boosters, and that takes, each of those takes 3 wireless boosters and some netherite. So just a bunch of nether stars. I got plenty. And then I made a wireless terminal, and I made one of each type of wireless terminal and crafted them together in pairs until they're all in one unit. So now I can stick it through there, and that will connect to my empty AE system. So now, because this is in a compact machine, to get out of it, we're going to have some remote connections. Some quantum rings. How high do I want this to be? That's probably good enough. So for now, I'm going to make 4 quantum rings. Oops. I can stack more later as I need them. Now put the things in the middle, which Gives a purple glow. I'd hope that being connected to a white cable would make that more of a white glow, but it is what it is. Don't know why it's more purple over there than over here, but I'm fine with that. Oh, maybe because this thing is giving off some blue light. It's counteracting it. And now they need these things, which, if you take one of those quantum singularities we're making and an ender pearl, toss them on the floor next to a piece of TNT, and below the TNT, it combines them into a matched pair. And I've got one more in here. If I click it, okay, it's matched to this one because they stack. So this one, I guess it doesn't matter where I put it, but I'll stick it over here. So this is one that's not currently in use, or not going to be in use immediately. These other three I have plans for. They're already in project chests elsewhere. All right, they're ready. So while we do have a terminal, and that's on the... there we go. That's the crafting terminal. All right. Yeah. Now, anything in here that I want to connect to, I can just extend these cables out and about. I will be bringing them up. Should we do this now? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this now. Let me get a whole bunch more cable. Now this is the default uncolored variety. But I made a coloring tool. It's in my inventory. Color applicator. Now this thing, I guess I can't see what's in it right now. So can I get the white back? There it is. And you can click it. Right click it with white selected and it turns the cables white. So a nice addition to the mod. Though to fill it, I will have to show you how that works. But we'll just set this stuff up first. There we go. I have a connection coming over here. So what do we got in these chests? Well, if you remember that row of AE2 machines in front of my chip processing plant, I was using those to make all this stuff. I've got the quantum computer core, quantum computer structures, a quantum computer multithreader, quantum data entangler, and then a whole bunch of accelerators. So let's get all this stuff out. There we go. And actually this has got to move because this machine comes out to there. I forget if I was making it. I think it can be 7 by 7, can't it? Let's see. Is it 6 by 6 or 7 by 7? 5 by 5? I'm sure it says here. No, 7 by 7. Okay, that's what I thought. So this goes all the way back to this back wall here. And then it will go up around the edges. This is the outer blocks. I guess we'll put the core here, close to here if I ever need to get to it. The data entangler and the computer multithreader. There can only be one of each of those and needs one computer core. And the rest of the space inside, I don't think it can be empty. So whatever size you make the multi-block, you're going to want to fill all the space inside with these things. All right, now I can bring up the outer walls and fill in the top, and then it should form. It did. So this, I'm sort of completely skipping over the usual AE2 crafting molecular assemblers. I have not made one of those, and I never will, unless it's needed for a crafting recipe. And on this side, we've got the assembler matrix frame, matrix walls, got some matrix glass, 5 of the speed cores, which is as many as you can have, 25 craft cores, and then a whole bunch of pattern cores. Shall probably have that. So this one is from a different mod, but it's going to work with it. And I didn't run the cable over here yet. So I'll put that down. Color it. But it goes to the same size. Oh, and I'm doing it wrong. This one doesn't use the same block for every block of the outer shape. It uses these blocks on the faces and these blue ones on the edges and corners. And since you can have either the solid walls, whoops, or glass walls, I decided to make 2 windows. All right. On the inside, I've got the craft cores, pattern cores. So I'm thinking a craft core like that. Since there's 5, there'll be a center one visible there. And since we can see some of these through the windows, might as well do something like this. And now it's going to be hard to get to all these other ones, so let's fill in the pattern cores. Oh, sound went dead. Did I get... I did not. Don't want any holes. Their placement doesn't really matter. So I'll just stick the last ones over here. And then the rest are all going to be the blue. Go. And to top these off, I'll put those blocks in my offhand and do that. This should now have formed. Device is offline though because I didn't hook up its cable. And do I want to run it from? No, it's closer from over here. This default purplish cable will connect. Whoop, how did that change to lime? All right, well, I'll come back to those. Should be online now. Yes, it's online. All right, so with these two, yeah, I like the way this looks. I'm sort of sticking out. This will do all the crafting, and this will have all of the patterns. So we can have a ton of patterns in here. I'm using my scroll wheel at maximum. Scroll, 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 scroll. There's a ton of room in there. But we still don't have any items in the system. So let's go take care of that. We're done in here for the moment. So we need to get all these chests hooked up to the system, and they're all hooked up to this thing. So down here I've got a chest, not too much in it. Storage bus. And some cable. And I'm just going to build another one of these quantum rings right here. And did it have... Didn't have one of the... Alright, so I guess I need this one in here. So the one I said we weren't going to use is the first one I use. It should now be linked to the one inside. Because that storage bus is there, if I now look at what this can see, it is everything I have in those chests. Which means I should now be able to make patterns. So if we change this to, that's the pattern terminal, extended pattern terminal, requesters, I thought I had the pattern maker. That thing is in the way. Did I not make the extended pattern crafting terminal pattern access? I didn't. Okay. Let's make one more and attach it. Terminal. Pattern encoding terminal. All right, so I need to make the pattern encoding. One of those. There's the crafting terminal. We take a crafting terminal and an engineering processor, and that makes the pattern encoding terminal. Yep, I didn't do it. I just got the reward for it. We need one more dense. Oop, I'm out of the energy cells. I'm going to make 2 stacks of those. And then turn those all into dense energy cells. 16. There we go. I'm going to take that and my current terminal and combine them, and now we've got the missing one. So now, extended pattern, quest. Ah, here it is. It says pattern encoding down here. It needs patterns. Patterns, no. Patterns. Advanced pattern encoder. Trying to make all those. Nah, most of the stuff is just going to be a regular pattern encode. Pattern. That's a pattern modifier. That's new. Where is the regular? There it is. Blank pattern. So that is a... Well, I need to make one first. Let's go back to my crafting terminal. Make one. That makes two. And then for pattern encoding, I can now place these in there and code the pattern, to how to make them into that. Go to the pattern terminal and stick it in there. And now, I cycle around here. In the crafting terminal, it shows that we know how to make blank patterns. So let's make 100 blank patterns. Start. We already have them done. I can pop those in there. All right. So now we can start teaching our system to make anything that I don't want to make by hand. And if it's something that I'm only going to make once or twice, it's easy enough to select it from over here. And if I have to type in its name, it's going to show up over here, and it would show up in here, even if I had it crafting. If I click it over here and then stick it in the crafting table, I can make it. And I don't really need the pattern. It's only if the pattern is something that's annoying to make, because it uses like bottles of honey. So each time you make it, you end up with an empty bottle in the crafting table. You got to get rid of it. And those definitely need pattern encoding. And also anything that's multi-tiered. Like the power reactor blocks. Because these have a lot of subcomponents. So I would want to make, let's go down to the bottom here and make a pattern for iron bars. Make a pattern for dielectric paste. Make the vertical rod pattern. The horizontal rod pattern. And if you hold down Shift, you can see what each of these patterns has in it. We'll do this casing. This basic capacitor. Make that. There we go. Probably also want to make a block of redstone. And then the tiny, which it needs its own. And later we'll need the large, which needs its own. And there, now we can make the basic tier. Stick these down here. Starter tier of the reactor, and then go to the next one. It needs the large ones, which we've already got a pattern for. So we can make this one. Next tier requires the hardened steel ones. So we'll make that, and then we can make that one. Blazing, which requires this. We can make the... So these are a pain to make manually, which I have already done twice. So it'll be good to get this all automated. And then last two. There we go. All right, so now I can go into pattern terminal. And we'll just stick all... Oh, you can't shift click them in there? Oh, that's That's annoying. It's being a little bit laggy and reacting to me dropping. Okay, they're all in. So if I come into the air and say, go back to the crafting, make me 36. I need more energized steel and more niotic. Right, how's this thing doing over here? Okay, it's got some niotic. Let's take out the diamonds. Take out the diamonds and the blaze rod. Oh, there's way too many blaze rods to get out of there. I'll just stick them all over here for the moment. I mean, I could edit the script to change the priorities, but then I'd have to change it back. It's easier to just move these over. I can think of a better way to handle that, but that'll be good for now. All right, so now it's putting 1 gold and 1 iron in there and making the blaze. I mean, the energized steel. So how much did we need? Oh, we got enough now. Start, and it's done. So like I said, I made one, and I actually have another one sitting over here, so I guess I'm just going to stick this into storage for the moment. We will come back to it. Let's put these things away. We're going to stick that there. That's going to go in my inventory in a moment, but let me explain what this is going on here. So this is what those nitro reactor blocks make. It generates power from coal, redstone, uraninite, and some sort of cold material, ice, in this case dry ice, and it just needs 1 bucket of water. It doesn't use the water. Just stick a bucket in there and it'll be fine. So what have I done here? All right, so I've got an exporter from my system that is a list of these 4 things: coal, redstone, uraninite, and blue ice. As I said, it's running on dry ice. Down here is a drawer with dry ice. So how do we get blue ice into dry ice? Well, that's this back section here. So we've got an one of these laser nodes here that is extracting on channel white. And over here it is inserting with a counting filter of 2 blue ice. It says counting filter, which is why I went with the laser node. You put 2 blue ice in there. I'll grab out a stack. There we go. So that it'll start making more. 2 blue ice, it zaps it from that energizing rod and turns it into dry ice. Dry ice gets piped out into that drawer. It can also pipe out straight into the reactor. That is all it takes. This drawer has got a pusher to the north, which is that direction, so it's pushing these 3 things into the system. If for some reason we ever ran out of dry ice, it'll start pushing the blue ice in. We shouldn't run out of it, though. This dry ice also has a pusher to the north. Both of them also have pushers to the south. So if I place the middle one on the ground, it will self-assemble with all the others. There it is. Put a plug there. Okay, got the dry ice, and it just needs the bucket of water. There we go. Now, it might have put the blue ice in there, but I could have just gotten some dry ice manually and swapped it out. It just depends on which one of those two pushers pushes first. You can't limit the pusher to 3 of the materials and not the 4th. It doesn't have that sort of control. So it's going to try and push the blue ice. But it got the dry ice first. And you want to click this button, the auto mode on, which means it'll stop this when it gets pretty high, and it'll turn off the reactor. Otherwise, it'll keep running even if it's full up and it's just wasting fuel to make power that's not going anywhere. So this, it should shut off. It's making 441,000 FE a tick. There, it stopped. And if this starts draining and it gets down to a certain amount, then it'll kick back on again. And then when it gets to the top, it'll stop. So this gives us almost 1 million power. This one's running at 455,000, and this is running at 441,000. It tends to vary by what the levels of these things are and how hot it is. I guess the hot is not going to change. 32C, negative 32C, fuel consumption, efficiency. Yeah, I don't know what the math is for these, how much it generates. They should be doing exactly the same, but they rarely are. So I think it's just as these levels go down before it puts in more, it affects the output. So these, I won't need much anymore. I mean, each of these is only generating 10,000. And these are generating 45 times that. So I need 45 of these to equal one of these. And I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 13. So almost as much. Yeah, so I can make another one over here and make another 2 with the same setup. But I'll probably wait until I replace all my integrated dynamics with AE2 cables. All right, so now we got plenty of power and easily expandable. But now that we've got all of these things accessible from this, the one thing we don't have is all my mob drops. And let's sort by number of items and reverse the order. There we go. So the thing I got the most of is sand. I have 305 million sand. 85 million copper, 65 million lapis. But I have tons of drops in the mob farm. So let's head to the mob farm. Those are not on the AE system. They are only on the integrated dynamics system via this thing. So I'm going to leave the integrated stuff connected. Why not? But I am. Oh, I should have done that because it's just going to all go in here. All right, so that face of the chest is available. That face. But I'm going to need one more now that I think about it. So let's go into here. Why is there a B in here? And the server is definitely running a bit slow. It's because I created the AE system? Is AE less efficient than integrated dynamics? Huh. I will have to experiment with that. We'll continue with as if that is not going on, but I am concerned by that. I've got a pretty good server, but I may have to pay more and increase its beefiness. Oh, no. Let's go back to pattern encoding, clear that. I want a storage bus pattern. And for that, I'm going to also want a piston pattern. Let's make an oak plank pattern. Don't forget the basic ones. And a interface pattern, a formation core, and an annihilation core. I wish I could shift click these in. All right, so now I can ask for one of these. I had one. Okay. I'm going to slap that there. So let's hook things. Up like that. And let's do it on top. Wrong spot. And it got sucked up. There we go. And it's got a anglement. There we go. And are these online? Online, online. So I should be able to see. Oh, got to go into this. Okay, they're in here. There's magma creams, there's slimes. There's all the totems of undying. I should have the gems in here too. Yep, there's all the gems. And I should have the fluids. Yep, there's the fluid XP. 856,000 buckets. Yep, 857,000 buckets. It's rounding up. All right, so now that is online. It's a little ugly here. I haven't decorated this room yet. I will at some point when I'm not rushing to get an episode out. And now we got to go to the farm and hook it up as well, because it's got a chest full of very useful stuff. Got 3.89 million dirt, 4 million logs, got the dye essence. Yeah, so all this needs to be hooked up, and we've got a chest full of stuff here. So once again, a storage bus. Gonna place it there. Cable out. Got the entangled singularity for it. And that's got a very bright purple glow here. But now all this dirt and logs should be visible. Logs and dirt. Do I actually have more? Yeah, I do have more logs than dirt. There we go. Canola. Oh yeah, I did plant canola, I forgot. Demon's Dream seeds, because we'll have to do occultism at some point. Excuse me. I did add the honey essence is making honeycomb, but I think I've got enough honeycomb. No, I'll let it run longer. Let it run for another day. Get more honeycomb. And then I'll leave it as essence. I'll get rid of this. Oh, I'll leave the pattern in there, but I'll like replace this with one of these placeholder items so that it won't come in here, get piped in through that pipe. And then I can use it to make honey if I need it. I just needed a lot of combs to make blocks. I did do a semi-automation on this. Let me walk you through that. This chest down here just has the seed, prosperity seeds, that pipes into this one. Most of the recipes are in like 2 halves. So most seeds will have, not that one, that's the one that doesn't, stone and inferium. It has 2 different materials. So I put like the inferium on this side. It pipes out to these 4. And then put the stone or whatever I'm making for the seeds in this chest, and that goes into these 4. And because this already has a lever underneath powering it, it will generate the new seed and it'll output into this chest. So I can drop the materials off here. It's a really simple automation for it, but it works. And like I said, I made 4 honey seeds here. Yeah, the farm is definitely visibly slower. The server's definitely struggling all of a sudden. I did upgrade it, like I said. I was at 1.3. There was a 1.4 and a 1.5 since I last played. So I had to do a double upgrade, but should have worked. See lightning, so I should be able to sleep, get rid of the rain. There we go. All right, I think with the rainbow that we now have a good stopping point for the episode. It's a little over an hour long, I think. Lots done. Oh, wait, no. All right, we're going to go a little bit longer. A little bit longer. I've got one more thing to do. 2 more things, actually. So back in this room, I've got 3 project chests. So let's do these real quick. These are not necessarily high priority, but I do want to get them working. I had them working. So I'm going to hoe these 3 and put down... Why did that not get a seed? Melon seeds. Oh, I don't have... Let's put... I waterlogged that. Yeah, it's going to spill out, but we'll fix that in a bit. Now I can hoe... Okay, now I got 3 melon seeds, which if I grow them up real quick, all 3 will place their melon in the middle. And so I made the plant gatherer from Industrial Foregoing. Once it has power, it will harvest what's in front of it. Its range is currently just the 1 block in front of it. I can make a range card so it does much larger area. But this will do for now. And why am I using melon? And that's because it'll harvest any seed, any plant, but it won't replant the seeds unless this is filled up with ether gas. We do not have ether gas yet. I want to get to it. I can do it, but haven't done it yet. So it will still harvest the melon, and it'll grow, 3 times as fast by having 3 of these trying to grow into the same spot. And why we want this is because when it harvests, it'll make sludge, I think it's called. And to make these grow even faster, I'm going to put down 2 of these boosted growth accelerators. This one will cover these 2 plants, and this one will cover this one. You can't have a plant touching more than one of those. And then I'll fill in all the other spaces with these. We're going to do a fluid pipe and an item pipe coming out of here. So the fluid is extract always, item extract always. The items will go... Where'd it go? Is it there? It is not there. Can I put down this? What? Get back in my inventory. Alright, I think it failed to notice me moving them onto my hotbar. So the fluid is now going to be an insert over here, and the item are an insert over here. You can see I've got 800,000 watermelon. How much can this hold? 2 million. Let's give it one more upgrade. That'll keep it from overflowing. I know I could put in a void. I just don't like putting in voiding. If I'm making the stuff, I want to use it. I might find a use for it later. And I've got quite a bit of sludge. I've got 1 million millibuckets, or 1,000 buckets. That's probably more than I will need. But when I get this going. Now if I place this here, it's waterlogged too, yeah. So let me pick up the water. Yeah. Put that down, and now... There. Just that one's waterlogged, not the rest. Didn't want that to happen. But I guess it doesn't hurt. Same thing's going to happen over here. And I've changed the pattern for this, so I need more cable as well. I mean, you all know that I build these things and test them before I do them on camera. But sometimes when I build them for you, with you, I do them differently. I need a wrench. I'm going to turn off all but one of these and give it an upgrade. Alright, so that should be powering those 3 machines. I guess I don't need... Well, I do need that one because it'll keep it from pouring down. Alright, they should all be on. And this should be growing and should be getting harvested, and it should be all pretty quick. Except for the server running slow. I'll have to figure that out. Alright, next one. Yeah, why do I need sludge? Sludge. Usage. Dissolution chamber. Totems of Undying, which we now have, and sludge will let me get to speed tier 5, efficiency tier 5, processing tier 5. It also needs crying obsidian, but I got a lot of that. And everything else is pretty easy to make. So each of these tiered upgrades for industrial foregoing. So this is the level 3. It needs pink slime. We will get to that. Some ancient debris, and yeah, we got plenty of that. The tier 4 needs experience, any of the experiences. We got plenty of that. Echo Shards and Skulk, we've got those. This one is the Sludge and the Totem Undying and Crying Obsidian. You can also make Crying Obsidian by barrel mixing witch water with obsidian. And I can do that. I've got lots of witch water. It's still been making it all this time. The tier 6 needs biofuel, which we're about to do now. Shulker shells, which I do have to do something about. Block of amethyst, I got that. So biofuel is the next one here. So how did I set this set up? All right, so I have a drawer here with my dye essence. Around it, I place 3 crafters. Each of these crafters is set up to take dye essence, and they all have 3 dye recipes using the essence. This one's magenta, red, and pink. I do 3 because I only have 4 slots in the output here, so I placed them magenta, red, and pink in here and hit remember. The 4th one, I just leave it alone, and it usually does whatever the first recipe into there. But I want to make sure these are always available for output, and that it doesn't fill up completely with magenta. And because I have 9 in total, I just put 3 in each crafter, even though these can take 8 different recipes. So we're going to get the materials in there. Going to extract. Let's do the extract on white all the time. And we'll do insert on white. And we'll have an extract. I guess we'll keep the extract on green. So insert on white, extract on green. Insert on white, extract all the time on green. So the dye is going to be extracted on white and get inserted into each of these to fill these slots. And then whatever their outputs are going to be extracted from all of them on green. And that one I forgot to click that button. And they're all going to go into the Bioreactor, which will be insert on green. It's going to get all these colored dyes. So 9 different colored dyes. Good. It filled up automatically correctly. The bioreactor can use a lot of things, a lot of biological things, plants, seeds, saplings, I think. But it can also do dyes. And that makes it really easy to give it 9 different things, which makes it the most efficient, 100% efficient. If I only had 1 dye in here, it would be less than 100% efficient. But it also needs water, so let's, what was I was using these things for water. Get my wrench. Guess we'll put the water like that. And extract. So that's filling up with water. It should now be running, except it needs power. These guys also need power, so what I will do is place an energy conduit in the middle and a flux point on top. There we go. So now everything should be getting power. They are. And that is now making biofuel. And so I'm going to output the biofuel. Let's give it some speed, because why not? Into a fluid drawer right here. All right. I just realized. All right. Yeah, it's fine. I'll come up right here. Nope, that's going to make a mess. Let's get some Fluix cable. There, that stops the waterlogging. I've got a hole down here for this one. Need to go underneath that. There we go. And then over here, we need to connect it to our network. So I made a little spot here in the wall using some 2 texture frame blocks to make that nice outline. It came out sort of nice. And I've got some dense cable that I will connect to it, give it a singularity, and then run regular cable off like that. So now I just need 3 storage buses. Oh, wrong. Storage bus. Make 10. Why not? 10 are done. Oh, I already had 3 here. All right. Never mind. That's that. And I need an exporter. We'll do a pattern for an exporter. Export bus. This one. Stick that in here. Now I can make 10. I only need 1. Oh, I already had one of those too. All right. And this is going to be exporting. Can't get at it from down here, so let's grab one from there. Die. So now, let's see if I can see the number. Yep. 9:30. It's going up. All right. Probably could put some speed on there, but that's probably fine enough. It's putting them in there faster than it's using them. All right. I'll put a... Did that one? I did that one. Ah, the power over here. Did I do that one? Did that one. I don't know what this last one was for. I will put it away then. All right, so now we've got those materials. The next materials we need, so 7 requires that ether gas. I think all the rest, the 8 also uses ether gas. We also need dragon heads, which we'll need to make a dragon egg seed, which means I'll have to kill the dragon enough times to get 4 of those. All right, those are done. And I think there we can call it. I am going to run back to the AE system since I've been carrying around these dense power cells. And I'm just going to slap them here on the bottom. There we go, and they're all full. That'll act as a power buffer for the AE2 system. So if I make a lot of crafting requests, it won't run out of power quickly. Those are good for, they're not good for long term, but they are good for short-term spikes in power need. All right. Now we're going to call it. I think the episode's about as long as any of them are these days. A little over an hour. Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry for those who have been following the whole series and for the week-long delay. Things came up. I also got interested in photogrammetry on last weekend. I was getting involved in that. That was fun. Anything else? I guess that's it. Yeah, I'm not too concerned when there's a gap myself because I'm not trying to grow the channel. I'm not here to make money from it. I'm not a professional YouTuber or trying to make a living off of it for sure. I have a day job. That takes up a lot of time. But I do it for fun and to help pass on some of the neat things I find that I can do in these mod packs to you guys. And I hope you enjoy it. I don't ask. I use the minimum amount of ads. I try and remove as many as I can. YouTube is always going to put some in there. So I monetize, so at least I get a cut of that. But I don't add any extra on top. You notice I don't ever say, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. I try never to say that. Because if you don't know how this works by now, I'm not going to be able to teach you by saying it at the end of every episode. It's just annoying. So you know what to do. All right, that's it. This is Nonsanity, signing out. Take care, be good, and see you next time.